Hello everyone, it is great to see you. Today we are looking at another part of Rhode Island. Very interesting. This is a part 2. If you have not visited the two places that we went to last time in the 1700s, please definitely do so. Today we're looking at another place very significant. We're going in chronological order again. We're going back just a bit. We're actually looking at the John Brown House Museum. So let's dive right in. The John Brown House Museum is located in Providence of Rhode Island. And if you click here, you can see this museum. The architect, as you might guess, was Joseph Brown. And this was actually the brother of John Brown, for whom this museum is named after. John Brown was he was a merchant, he was a statesman, and he was one of the wealthiest and most powerful figures in the 18th century Rhode Island. He's actually the co-founder of the Brown University. Brown University, I don't know if you know it, but was actually originally the College of Rhode Island. And so he was one of its founders, and he was also the first American tied under the federal slave trade laws. So he was acquitted, in fact, due to his immense political influence, but he was a complex figure. He's known as a philanthropist, a patriot, but also an enslaver. So all in one, very, very multifaceted figure. In terms of the architecture alone, though, this was the first mansion that was built in the Providence area in the post-revolutionary era. And oh, there's some pictures inside as well. Oh, very lovely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely stunning place. This was actually 3 stories high, and it has a symmetrical proportion, as we saw, and this must have been very difficult to build, but this is just a signal of John Brown's wealth and status. And in the interior, although we cannot see it in this picture, John Brown Museum in Rhode Island. Very beautiful here. The original interior has hand-carved woodwork, as you see, very, very intricate like this. And this actually used original wallpaper that was imported from France. So just by that, we know how luxurious his life was. Also, he has a ballroom in here. I don't see the image that I saw last time. Oh, possibly this, but a huge ballroom that was used as a reception kind of way. Also a massive central hallway, and it is said that there is a underground tunnel as well, according to some sources, although this we are not sure about. And in terms of ties to slave trade, this is a very heavy topic, but John Brown financed slave ship through the triangle trade, and I will show you a diagram of this. In the 1700s, 1800s, this kind of trade happened where Europe sent manufactured goods, Africa, a lot of Europeans and Americans captured Africans and enslaved them, sent them over here, and then they would send raw material. They would use enslaved labor. They would force labor upon people, and so it resulted in this triangular trade. But John Brown really financed this. He got sugar from the Caribbean, so he got rum from Rhode Island, and from West Africa he was involved in enslaving Africans and bringing them to the United States. And his ship, actually known as the Sally, was actually very notorious because nearly 196 enslaved Africans on board died during the voyage or shortly after arriving after the voyage. And I do not believe this is the same boat, but yes, so oh, it might be the same boat. I'm sorry. Yeah, but very notorious here. And so very heartbreaking. Brown's role in slavery actually created lots of divisions even within his own family. His brother, um, Moses Brown, became an abolitionist, and he helped to found the Providence Society for abolishing slave trade. So, most high-faceted history here as well. And John Brown also, in terms of political history, was a key figure in the Gaspee affair. And this was a affair when British custom ship was burned by colonists directly as a precursor to the Boston Tea Party. So he was involved in that. He was actually, he served in the U.S. House of Representatives and helped establish the first bank of the United States as well. And so, various roles that we must think about in helping with the revolution, in using his wealth in good ways, but also being entangled in the history of slavery, and also funding the triangular trade, and also having ships like the Sally. Very heartbreaking, I think. So yeah. And going just a bit back to the architecture itself, this style was Georgian and likely from other federal influences. And this is currently managed by the Rhode Island Historical Society. So if you ever do visit, please comment that in the section down below. It seems like a lovely building, a lovely place full of history. So very interesting place. Okay, let's jump ahead. About 40 years now, we're actually going to a place in the 1800s now. Yeah, let's jump right ahead to Fort Adams. Fort Adams. So Fort Adams is, you need a bit of historical context here to understand its real significance, but this was built after the War of 1812. The British forces actually burned Washington, D.C., and it kind of showed to the United States their coastal vulnerability. They were like, oh, the British can always attack through the coastlines because of the New England states' proximity to Britain in terms of seaway. And so Fort Adams was part of the third system of the U.S. coastal fortification. It was established in 1824. It began construction then, and it's actually named after President John Adams. And this is one of the largest coastal fortresses in all of North America. And its designer is actually named Simon Bernard. And he was a French military engineer who actually had served under Napoleon. So very interesting history, right? Like everything kind of connects together. I feel like when I'm learning history, like I'll learn, oh, in the 1800s, this happened in the United States, this happened in China, this happened all the way in Africa, but then all of these things were happening at once, and they were not even in times when, trade across and communication across these different regions were not so easy. These were not separate ideas. These were not separate events. They were happening all at the same time, mutually connected to each other. So that becomes really interesting as well. Yeah, I ranted a bit too much there. The fortification itself is located at the entrance of a bay. I believe it is called the Narragansett Bay, and this is really important today for its military waterway, commerce, and various strategies as well. The fort design itself, I will here I believe it is made of quarried granite and red bricks, and it is not currently filled with water, but there is a dry moat, and this is designed to trap and expose the invading forces. I'm not entirely too sure how this functions mechanically, but really impressive. And bastions also that projects like a cross and like for crossfires and various other attacks from different angles. We also have tunnels here like this here that's can be used as a barrack for various troops, for thousands of troops. And yeah, and the design itself is polygonal fortification geometry that was developed in continental Europe, And it was really a departure from previous forts that in the United States was often star-shaped, and so revolutionary here as well. Although it never actually saw battle, it was during the Civil War. It was used for training artillery units and storing weaponry. During both of the World Wars, it also served as a coastal defense and a naval training center, as you can see here. And this really, even during the Cold War, this housed really advanced artillery and early radar equipment as well. And so in the 1950s, actually, the 1960s, I believe, it was used as in for the Newport Jazz Festival, and the Newport Folk Festival, where Bob Dylan famously made lots of historical, musically significant revolutions here, and now it has become the Rhode Island State Park. It has lots of tours, lots of different historical sites that you can visit. Yeah, so that's all I've prepared for today, and Rhode Island was so fascinating to me because it's such a beautiful place, but it's not a place that's often featured in history books. Like you'll hear about Washington, you'll hear about places like California during the gold rush, but Rhode Island in particular, it does not gain much attention when it has been such a significant site for a lot of history. So really excited and grateful to be able to share this with you. If you guys have any questions, comments, any advices down below, I appreciate all of them. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you, and bye.